Hello students and welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. So in today's session, we are going to talk about a rice variety to curb farm fire. Okay, so we'll see what it is all about, what this rice variety is and how it can help to curb farm fire. But before we dig into that, what is farm fire? Why is it happening and what does it do? So, it's winter is now coming, right? So what happens is during winter, there is stubble burning, okay? In the surrounding areas of Delhi, you have Haryana, Punjab, all these places where farmers burn the stubble, and that is what farm fire is. At the same time, it's going to cause pollution. It causes pollution. Of course, there are various other reasons. When you are asked in an examination the reasons for pollution specifically in Delhi during winter, and a question has previously been asked, so the focus will not just be here. It is also going to be about the increase in standard of living leading to increased number of four-wheelers. All those things would be there and different solutions would be there for all domains, but one specific thing is the farm fire. Now, that stubble burning also leads to pollution, and because it's winter, that smoke and everything sustains in the atmosphere at low levels for a longer duration, causing more pollution. Now, coincidentally, it so happens that round about that time, Diwali also comes. Now, what happens is suddenly you ban the bursting of crackers, this, that, which again, it's a time for celebration. It is a festival. It is, celebrated throughout India by everyone literally, right? So the thing with it is, then you curb that, the enjoyment, the celebration of a festival. So can there be other solutions wherein we can find out solutions in, let's say we came up with odd and even formula for vehicles. That's a different discussion altogether. But what can be done for farm fire? There is a very great research that has been done, which has come out with a different variety of rice which can actually help in this. Now, why do farmers burn the stubble? The reason for that is the stubble. What is that stubble? That is the remain of the crops which was grown previously. You harvest the crop, it is still the parts that are still remaining along with the roots is the stubble. Now, if you pluck it out, it is time consuming, laborious, it is a cost. The other thing is you can use machines, but then again, machines are costly. Small and marginal farmers may not be able to use it. Even for the big landlords, big farmers also, they may find why to just waste money in that. So the easiest and fastest way is burn it out. Burn it all out. Okay. So in one day, just everything is gone. So one easy method it is. Secondly, it is cost effective. Thirdly, there is no much time, because after this crop you have to now sow the other crop, so turnaround time is also not there, right? So these are the reasons why farmers are doing this. So let us see which is this rice variety and how does it help solve this farm fire. Now, if you talk about different rice varieties, there are two important varieties. One is Pusa 44, one you will see is PR 126. And the new rice variety that we are going to talk about is Pusa 2090. So basically we are going to see all these three different varieties and see how Pusa 2090 compare with them and how it helps to save us from farm fires. So when it comes to Pusa 44 variety, now this is the most common, the most popular variety. Now the thing with it is Punjab government has banned it. It has been banned also in certain region at the same time in Punjab, for example, but people are still growing it. Okay, so when you ban, what does ban mean over here? So Pusa is basically banned in Punjab, right, by the Punjab government, but people are still growing it. Why they are still growing it? So when government has banned it, they have banned it in the sense that if anyone grows Pusa 44, the government may not procure that Pusa 44 through their MSP, minimum support price procurement, but you can still sell it in the market. right? And who is going to check in detail every single farm field, and anyhow you can sell it in the open market. So the only issue would be you cannot sell it at MSP, but open market you can sell it. So it's a not proper, it's a not 100% ban, for example, but through MSP you will not be able to sell. But this is so good, Pusa 44, the yield and all is good, that is why people are still growing it. So let's understand a bit more about Pusa. This Pusa 44 which is there, it actually gives you around 4 to 5 quintal more yield than your PR 126. Okay, it gives more yield than PR 126. When you talk about PR 126, it will give you a yield of 30 to 32 quintal, 30 to 32 quintal, whereas when you talk about Pusa 44, you will get a yield of 4-5 quintals extra. That means you can get up to 36-37 quintal also. So one clear-cut benefit is the increased yield, right? This is the main thing. Second, the thing with PR 126 is it requires less number of days. PR 126 is going to require less number of days. So it will require just around 120 to 125 number of days, which is lesser than Pusa 44. But still people go with Pusa 44 because the yield is high. Now comes our important new variety, that is Pusa 2090. Now what is the speciality of this variety? So the thing is, if we compare the time required, PR 126 is better than Pusa. Right? I won't write greater because greater would mean greater time. No, it is better. When we talk about the productivity or the output, then Pusa 44 is better. Now, when it comes to Pusa 2090, it matches both PR 126 and Pusa 44. Let's see how it matches. What it does is, the time required for Pusa 2090 is comparable, equivalent to the time required by PR 126, and the yield that you get, yield is equivalent, comparable to Pusa 44. Yield of Pusa 290 is around 35 quintals. Remember, there we were getting around 36, 37. Here it is comparable. PR yield was just 30 to 32, so it was on the lower side. So Pusa 2090 takes less time, equivalent to that of PR 126. At the same time, gives higher yield than PR 126, that is equivalent to 35 quintals. Now, how is this going to help? This is going to help because the yield is similar, so there is no much difference between Pusa 44 and 290. At the same time required is less. Time is required is less. Let's see what was the time required over here. Yes, 122 to 125 days. Whereas for Pusa 44, it is how much? 155 to 160 days. So around 35 days are additionally required for Pusa 44, which will be reduced in Pusa 2090. Now, what is the benefit of lower time? When time required is lower, you can basically get your harvesting and everything done in October only, and you won't have to wait for November. So what is happening? You will do your harvesting and everything by October itself, instead of the present November month that is happening. Now, when you are doing in November month, what is happening? The turnaround time that is there, turnaround time for the new crop is less. But if you keep harvesting and do all the activities in October itself, then the turnaround time, that is known as STAT, is going to be higher for Pusa 2090. And that is going to give time for the farmers to, remove, extract the stubble that is there. That's point number one. In fact, not just that. Let's assume that they burn it then also. So winter is yet to come. Right? Winter is still a month away. So it will still be better even if you burn, because that smoke is not going to persist. It is not going to coincide with the festival that is celebrated everywhere, right? So that is not going to take away our freedom to celebrate the festivals, burn crackers, burst crackers. However, there are new versions of crackers are coming, which is greener. All that is there. So at the same time, winter will also not be there, so the smoke will not persist. So even if you burn, it will still be better, but since you will have more turnaround time, you can do something or the other about it, because with machine it can be done sooner, faster, but takes more money. If you do it through labor, through your hands, it will cost you less, but it will take more time and you will have time. I hope that is absolutely clear, right? So this is how PUSA can help. Now when we talked about yield, let us look at the concept of measuring yield. I hope it is very clear how this rice variety is going to help. Now let's look into the detail of the yield, because this can be a standalone question in your prelims. Now yield is what we said, there will be 35, 30, 32 quintal, different varieties, different yield. Now what is yield? Yield is basically the function of the number of tillers. Number of tillers. So what is a tiller? It is the branch with grain bearing ear heads or panicles. So you have this branch, right? So this is a tiller. It is the branch that has grain bearing ear heads or panicles. Ear heads or panicles. So this is the branch, right? Now each plant will produce different number of grains per panicle. So each plant will first have different number of tillers, and then each tiller will have what? Different number of grains per this tiller. So the productivity or the yield will be a function of how many tillers are there in a plant and how many grains are there in a single tiller. So that multiplication is going to give you a total number of grains that are present, and then you will know which grains are thicker, heavier, so you can understand the total productivity or yield of the crop. Okay. So this is how productivity is calculated. Now there are certain other features also of PUSA 2090 which is beneficial. It is also a more suitable for the millers and hence more suitable for the milling activity. Now what is milling activity? What happens is, this rice grain is in a pod. It's closed in a pod. If you open it, you will find a single rice grain. So how do you do it? How do you take rice out? Do you take rice out by opening each single pod and taking one single rice out? Of course not, right? You use different methods. You can do it manually or with the help of machines also. You can basically do the milling. Milling is taking out that rice grain from that enclosed pod. You can simply in farm also you can do that. How you do it? You take that plant, you thrash it like this, and the rice particles will come out and fall there, and then whatever the plant is left, you can just throw it as a biodegradable waste and you can use it elsewhere for fodder, different things whatsoever, and the rice grains will come out. Now when you do this, what happens is, when you thrash it or use machines do it, there is a chance that because of that stroke even the rice particles can break, and that happens. That happens to the tune of 37% in PR 126. So in PR 126, when you do it, only 63% of the rice is still single piece. You know, you might have heard the word kanki or broken rice. Where does this broken rice come from? It is from this only. The remaining 37% is broken rice. So for PR 126, 63% still remain full. Whereas when it comes to PUSA, it is 67%, higher number though. So that means the grains are stronger, remain full size even after milling. Now PUSA 2090 matches PUSA 44 even in this regard, even in the milling process. And hence even the millers who have these factories to take out the rice and process, it is also required to be done when you have polished rice, this, that. So all those processing can also be done better for PUSA 2090 as compared to PR 126, and it is comparable, almost similar to PUSA 44. Again, a reason why the millers will also be okay for going ahead with PUSA 2090. So this is going to take care of a lot of problems. Not a lot of problem, but one big problem of farm fire. At the same time, it will ensure that productivity is not hampered, millers are not having any issues, and the farmer's income is not hampered, rather it remains the same. So that was about the new farm rice variety which can help us address the farm fire issue and hence the pollution issue. Thank you.